And I'm like, if you're driving and you lock my doors and won't let me out of the car, I will fucking kill you. I will fucking murder your face with my fists of rage.
Oh my goodness.
So Joe, just so you know, unless it's Thunderstruck, then I'm in.
Usually what'll happen with us is there's a song going, we're still olds. Mm-hmm. We still listen to the radio.
Me too. I listen to the radio. I have a flash drive connected to my stereo on the truck, so I have like 4,000, 5,000 songs ready to go too. But I do like listening to the radio for new stuff, like we said, the college station that one time.
Yeah. Oh, so and again, we've talked about this before, but independently of each other, both my wife and I have all the college stations that come in around here in on our presets. Mm-hmm. And I go, ooh, the college stations. When I was in her car the other day, and she was like, oh, no, I didn't realize it was the college stations. It was like I was scanning and it came in clear and it was a song I liked. So I'm like, all right, we're saving it, right? Mm-hmm. But, I have my, we've talked before about my antiquated MP3 player. I could do a flash drive, of course, but nobody wants to listen to my garbage podcasts while we're out cruising, doing whatever it is. That's what I save for when I just have to go out for my solo drives or whatever.
All right. Get this Dabbleverse shit off, Dad.
Exactly. Again, I roped April into the live show at the beginning of the month. We'll see how August goes.
Right. She didn't have to go. She got to go.
They were joking around about something. She saw some sort of thing on like Reels or whatever the fuck it is, right?
Right.
And it's something going on in Las Vegas, some hotel. And there's this other thing out there called Omega Mart. It's kind of like an art exhibit. Mm-hmm. It's like it masquerades as a grocery store, where all the stuff is like genetically enhanced and they're selling like all like mutant food and stuff like that. But it's like an art exhibit, right?
This sounds like a superhero or supervillain origin, but go ahead.
Right. So like that's in Vegas and my kid always looks at that and, whatever this hotel was. And I go, Memorial Day weekend is Hackamania. That's in Las Vegas. Yeah, exactly. So they still haven't announced the date for the August DabbleCon show, which is in Rochester. I have it narrowed down to one of 2 weekends. I'm definitely going. But if a song comes on and it's good, it's not like, all right, everybody stay in this car until, it's over. We usually get out of the car and we're like bebopping along to it, like as we're getting out of the car and getting shit in the car and getting back in the house and everything like that,
Right.
That's all.
And I mean, if it's on the radio, it's going to go away. But like with the flash drive that I have in the stereo, when I come back, it's going to restart up in the exact same spot it was. So that's
exactly.
But and I do like that my stereo has like a touch screen on it for my truck. Mm-hmm. And if the local radio stations are playing a song and I don't know what it is, it'll tell me on the screen of my truck. So it's like, if it's like some new band I never heard of, I'll be like, okay, so now I know who it is. And it'll be like stuck in my brain.
Sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it doesn't. So I think it's a lot of times set up by the way the station programs things. And listen, this old person talks. I know, listen, everybody has Spotify, great, whatever. Enjoy your Spotify. I don't care. I'm not doing Spotify. So a lot of times like the station will be like, it'll be, an artist and song, and like that song was like 6 songs ago and it just hasn't flipped over yet, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how science works, man. I don't know how technology works. I don't know how none of it works.
I was blown away the first time I used one of those apps that you just hit the button and it'll tell you what the song playing near you is without any information.
Yeah.
I remember finding that, and the one I use on my phone is the Shazam because it sounds like a superhero thing.
And I think that was the first one. Like that was the first
either way,
one.
Right, and then there was, I can't think of what his name was on the TV show Shazam. Remember, there was like a game show where they used Shazam, where you had to beat Shazam or something to figure out the song.
No, I don't know.
Jamie Foxx was the host.
Oh boy,
right. But I remember trying that for the first time because there was something somewhere, and it was just on the radio or like coming, like if somebody had it, they were just playing stuff, and I was like, oh, what's that? Well, let me try, and it got it, and I was like, how does it know? Does it, like, is there something encoded in the song, or is it the song itself, or all these things I could look up, but I'm too goddamn lazy to do it? So, you know what I mean, though, right? Like, different ways it could possibly work.
Right. Now, that's interesting. Last week, I didn't get a chance to mention it because we had a bunch of other things that we were talking about on the show. So April's folks were in from Florida this past week. We tried to get a chance to see them as much as we could because they're snowbirds. They're in Florida. Mm-hmm. Her dad's going through some medical stuff, but they decided to drive all the way up here from Florida so they could do their taxes because they don't like doing their taxes in Florida.
Is it different to do taxes in Florida than Pennsylvania?
They like their accountant. They haven't found a good accountant.
Oh, okay. I just thought that they did them themselves, and they were like, couldn't they just? I don't know. Well, they're older than us, so I doubt that they would email and do stuff like that. So we'll get into that. This will lead into you with your stuff too. So we went to go see them. We went to like a little like restaurant-y thing down near them last Tuesday before we recorded the show last week, and this place maybe fits like the seating area for the restaurant is maybe the size of my office here. Okay.
There was 20 people in there and it was crammed. But when we went there to eat, it was also trivia night.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Remember when we did Simpsons trivia? That was a good night.
Remember we did Simpsons, and that's my wife brought that up, that I did the Simpsons trivia thing. I brought up that I had been on multiple wrestling podcast doing the wrestling trivia sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And my wife is like, oh, this would be a good job for you to do. I go, I don't know if this is like a job, like this is just a guy, right? You know? Mm-hmm. And he does the whole thing like, oh, Friday was karaoke, and then this Saturday I think they're booking comedians. And like I have a sick perversion that I may want to go see what a comedian in Chick Shinny sounds like.
Oh, in 2024. I'm sure it sounds wonderful. It depends on what side of the political spectrum you're on, whether you're going to like it or not.
But that's the thing, is like to be like the trivia guy. You can't just be the trivia guy who does bar trivia. You got to do like, you got to book comedy gigs. You got to book karaoke nights. You got to do this. You got to do that. Yeah. You got to do this. And
just to be a trivia guy, I would hate it because I've done trivia nights a few times. We did the Simpson one with the Mad Basis. I've done a couple other ones. Right. And like, I remember they did like Doctor Who one night and I went and they would ask the question. I was like, what fucking answer do you want for this? Because I got 7 right off the top, if that's what you want. And you know what I mean? It's like somebody who's like, who's not a fan. It's like if somebody was doing...
It would be like if I Googled Doctor Who trivia.
Exactly, and that's what they
down
do.
The first 10 things that came up, didn't fact check, did nothing, right?
Like name, like they found an article from 1997, and it's like name the 3 actors who have played the Master, and it's like there's been 5 since that. You know what I mean? So it's always funny. Like there have been a couple times we're sitting there, like, and it was with other stuff, but too. I'm not just using Doctor Who. It's like, this could be answered multiple ways. And like a lot of times you'll see it, like somebody will come up after because you can't use your phones and be like, see, this is another answer to it. And they're like, all right, we'll accept that. And I'm like, this ain't the $64,000 question. Nobody's like working to make sure all these the answers are legit and everything. So I'm not big on trivia night, but go ahead.
So again, it was like 20 people, 5 of them were our party. Mm-hmm. And that means there was like 1, 2, 3, 4 other groups doing like the trivia thing. Mm-hmm. And there was like 2 of the groups that were taking it like real serious. Like they were there for trivia night. Mm-hmm. I was there to eat chicken and biscuits, and trivia night just happened around me.
Right. That's my third side on trivia. And chicken and biscuits is trivia.
Right. So I didn't care. I wasn't going to dispute answers or say like, well, I meant that, like, well, what about this or what about that or whatever it was. And like people fighting over answers and doing this whole thing. And I'm like, can we just stop fighting so I could get my food and go home, please?
Right. I'll say this, though. If it was how many like titles Ric Flair had, you'd be like, wait a minute, good sir.
Now, if I showed up there because it was advertised as wrestling trivia, mm-hmm. And I'm like, and the prize, and I know what the like. So there's a prize that you won if you won trivia, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the prize was, Todd?
It's huge. I bet you it's always like a gift certificate back to the restaurant that you're at.
I don't know what the prize was because I didn't care.
Okay.
I'm just here. I'm going to play trivia. If I win, great. If I don't win, I don't care. But even when I did the Joe Gagney, I can't even remember what the name of the podcast was. I was on it.
You're on so many.
I was on a couple times. 5-star match game.
Right.
Like when I was on and I thought I knew the answer, and Joe was like, "Oh no, this was the answer," and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I guess I was wrong." Whatever. It's no big deal. I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was this." Okay, lesson learned. Move on.
Right.
I don't know. Like sometimes, like when we're just having a discussion, I'll fight you more than if it like means something.
No.
Yeah.
That's shocking news to me. That's my shock voice, Joe.
Thank you.
But
so it's Easter season too. Well, we'll get to Easter season. So I mentioned about in-laws coming up for taxes. Did you get all your tax stuff squared away? I know late 2023, early 24, there was some issues or concerns.
Everything's done.
Yes.
For my personal taxes, yes.
Good. I'm glad.
My father, who helps, we're kind of partners at the Cinnabon.
Yes.
That has to be done, but he always just gets an extension because, like, he has a CPA. Like if he's going down, somebody's going down with him, kind of a deal. But so like I think he's doing it. He hasn't told me because I still have the Cinnabon receipts here at the house, and he hasn't asked me for them yet. So. I'm like, okay, like whatever you need, like, here's the all the receipts for the frosting that I bought and the undercooked dough. It's all there.
Oh my goodness.
But like when he asked me for it, I have it all ready in like the order that he wants or the order he thinks he wants. Because sometimes he'll tell, I can't explain it. Like he'll give me, I want it by month for the business with these things, and you're like, but I want them separated in this. I want them in the same envelope, but I want like all these categories together. And I'm like, well, I can't do that all in 1 month for an envelope. I have to like, you want 7 things, and that will put receipts in multiple like categories. And in the end, I just go everything by month, and he forgets what he asked me, so it don't matter. I know that makes no sense. You have to be there for it. You know what I mean?
No, it makes sense. It does.
Otherwise, I already got my refund back, so I'm happy with that. So
yeah, we didn't turn ours in until like I think this is the latest we've turned ours in quite some time. We didn't turn them in until we came back from the cruise, and
right.
That's I think like that would have been like 3 weeks ago, maybe a little bit more.
Right.
So yeah, we haven't gotten any of that back yet, but I don't care. I never see my refund.
I put all my refund goes right off on the side for school taxes. You know what I mean? That are coming up. Like that's more towards the end of the year, but that gets put in a separate account, and it's just like when that comes, I write a check off of that, and it pays for my. I don't dip into that for anything like comics or anything. It's like that's the big one at the end of the year.
That usually, like, that's what paid for our 2 vacations, like the cruise in October, like saving up all those tax refunds. We have some masonry stuff that we need to do around the house. Our front steps are in a little bit of disrepair.
Right.
And I'd like to get those fixed. I want to see if it's like a quick patch job that I can do, but I'd rather call in a professional and just have them fix it and be done with it. Like that's like those like the front steps and the side little porch there just have like some quickie stuff, but we'll see. And then my wife has an idea of some like new like faux countertopping stuff that she saw something on.
New backsplash.
Yeah, there's a new backsplash, and it's like a gimmick that you could put like over your existing countertop because our countertop's pretty old. And it just like you got to measure it, you got to do this, you got to do that, and I'm like, all right, well, it's not very expensive either, so we're like, all right, we're gonna look into it, and this may be like a springtime project that we'll be doing inside the house. got all that sort of jazz. But, and I went through a bunch of comics today. You know, we kind of talked over the last 2 weeks off mic, paring some stuff down, return, you know, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so there's a bunch of stuff that we get through our various partnerships with a lot of the publishers.
Right.
That I have both in print and digital.
Yep.
That I might be just sticking with the digital versions of.
Mm-hmm. I have so many comics now, Joe.
I know, Don. I've got 2 stacks of about 50 comics sitting right to my left that I just need to kind of finalize, decatalog, and then see if I can get pennies on the dollar for them, you know?
That's my problem. I can't I'm not a hoarder of anything else, but all my comics, they go back upstairs. Unless it's like something that I tried 2 issues of, and I know I disliked it immensely. It was like, this wasn't for me. That can go in the box to get rid of. But if I have anything over 8 issues, it's like pulling teeth to get me to get rid of it. They just go in a box and they go upstairs, and I have that CLZ app, and I'm at like, I don't even know what number I'm at now. It's like a ridiculous number. Like, it's like 13,600 or something like that. And I'm like, that's too many comics. Like, my ceiling's going to collapse, Joe.
And that's the thing. Even with my trades and stuff, I thought I had way more, but I'm just like right around 9,000. Like, I'm just like a hair under.
I'm 13,462. Mm-hmm. And I know there's some comics upstairs that I don't have in this because they were like stuff that I'm definitely getting rid of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there's probably 2 long boxes of stuff that I have. And then when I was cataloging stuff, I have 2 boxes with all my Doctor Doom stuff in it. And I have one that was just a Thor box because I was putting together like Thor over the years. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put everything in that. And then that'll become box, 85 or whatever when I'm done. And I haven't cataloged those. So I know I probably have about maybe like 800 more comics that I need to do. And it's like, and every week there's at least 5 or 6 more. Unless we have a short week, which is, like, what's a small week for me? 4 books? Like, geez. Yeah. Joe, somebody's got to stop me. I'm out of control.
But like we had talked, and there was a couple books that we were kind of kicking the tires on, like yay, nay, whatever. Mm-hmm. And, it's the end of the month, beginning of the new month, so I'm bringing my new list to the store, and I dumped like 6 books off my list.
Ooh, I'll have to ask you what those are later.
Yeah. Yeah. But is there anything else? Because I got something I tweeted about that I want to talk about here.
There's so much that you tweeted about recently, so I'm done. There's nothing.
Not really, because as you've told me, I've been quiet lately, and that's because
right. But today seemed very active. I don't know if it's because you were on less, or if all of a sudden you had Twitter diarrhea. I don't know.
Well, it was off of Monday night, so there was a lot of quote tweeting of stuff,
mm-hmm.
Or retweeting of stuff. But I don't use my Facebook very often.
Right.
Primarily, I use my Facebook to look at 2 Facebook groups.
And one person.
And one person. Maybe the 2 Facebook groups are about that one person.
Exactly. And you know what? I'm on board on all of those. But go ahead.
So for the longest time, you know how like when you go on Facebook, it tries to push you to watch Reels?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Are you aware of Reels, which is like Facebook and Instagram's version of TikTok?
Yes.
For the longest time, all the ones that I would be getting would be like video game related or game related, like, like D&D, Pokemon, like tabletop game, that sort of thing, or fast food hacks. And I would lament and say, like, there was this one that would come up, and it would be like the most, like I would see it once a day from a different person every day. And it was the McDonald's hack to get a Big Mac for cheap, which was order a McDouble, but put Mac sauce on it.
Right.
And like a McDouble is only like $2.29 on the menu, but a Big Mac is like $4.59 on the menu. So like you're beating the system, but it's like all of yous are doing the same thing, and eventually McDonald's is going to fix it. Anyway, so this is the Reels that I would be getting suggested to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in the last week, they've all changed. All the reels that I get suggested to me are featuring very curvy young ladies in various states of almost undress.
I know those. I mean, I've heard of those.
And it's a little bit more suggestive, and using a lot of emoji language to kind of skirt coming right out and saying what they're supposed to be saying. Right.
They won't say the word, but then there'll be an eggplant emoji
or something.
Corn. Or
yeah, what? And like it's one of those things where it's like, it's almost about to be pornography, but then the reel cuts off, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what did I search? What did I do to change my Facebook algorithm?
They're like vampires. Once you invite one in, you're done, Joe.
Yeah, I want my fast food hacks back. Please, I want to know that how to get a Big Mac as a McDouble instead of this, you know? I'm not saying that I don't like seeing this sort of thing, because I got no problem with seeing this sort of thing.
But you want more of the original thing.
I want the old reels back.
My God. God damn it.
That's all.
I'm with you, because my reels, I don't use Facebook much. I use Facebook for what you said, like that was a certain person and 2 or possibly 3 groups that talk about said person.
Right.
I found a Megaforce group that I recently found. So I'll watch that for any future memorabilia or merchandise.
There are literally dozens of you in that group.
Yes. And I watch the reels, and I don't know if the algorithm, because I'll flow through it and I'll see some, healthy young girl trying to give me advice or something. I don't know what she's doing. I take the sound off. But there's that. And then I found, like, because of Max at the local comic shop.
Yes.
My reels are littered with dachshund videos. Not doxing videos, dachshund videos. So I'm like, okay, there's tons of dogs, scantily clad women, Megaforce. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So, and there's a lot of comic book stuff pops up from various like videos, but I'm like, I'm fine with mine. I don't need anything to change. So.
I just want to know what I did to change my algorithm, because they weren't there before, but now they are.
I honestly think maybe you accidentally bumped your screen while you were going past one, and that's the one thing that I wish there was a button, like certain things that you could just refresh, like start over on certain parts of like your Facebook, because they're like, oh, you could wipe it all, but then I'm like, oh, all my preferences and my notifications, blah, blah, blah. Can I just scrub my reels and start over?
So what I do is I try to interact more with like Snackalator, McFranchise, like the foodies that I follow on there.
Right, I see you talking to them more, so.
Yeah, and whenever the reels come up, like usually, how reels comes up and it gives you like 6 or whatever, or 5 or 6 or whatever it is at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I choose to see less often, in the hopes that me saying see less often to those ones will filter those ones back.
Yep, okay.
I'm trying. It's only been like a week,
and this is slightly different, but like on the same thing with notifications on our Discord. Join our Discord if you haven't.
Yes, sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord. Yes.
So like early on, I didn't like Discord because I didn't understand the notification settings. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I ended up like figuring out what I needed for the most part. And then every once in a while, like I set my notifications not to have a sound for Discord. They just kind of do a little vibration. So I'm like, okay, so there's something off in the Discord I can look, or if I'm out and it doesn't like jar me, like if I'm with somebody, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to look yet, but I know something happened. But it was beeping every once in a while. And one of them I think it was Discord threads, maybe. It would say like, Adam Van and Joe are talking about X. Like, if you guys talked about a subject or anybody, it didn't matter, for more than like 7 Discord comments and they were all kind of the same thing, it would let me know that was going on. It was driving me nuts to find out, because what would happen was I'd get the notification and I'd be like, okay, something's here, and it went off, and I'd press it to see what it was, and I'd go to the Discord and it'd be like, oh, they're talking about this, but now my notification would go away, so I didn't know what it was called. Maybe it was called Threads, maybe it wasn't. So eventually my brain had to go, all right, it beeped. Don't swipe it or go to it. Find out what it is, and then Google how to shut this fucking thing off. Because usually it was stuff that in Discords that I had muted anyway. I was like, well, if it's muted, why would you think I want to know on the thread that they're talking about? So but I managed to get it all done, and I'm happy again. So.
On my phone, I muted all notifications. Everything.
Everything from Discord or everything everywhere?
Everything from Discord is muted on my phone.
Okay.
When I want, because I'm a browser guy anyway, and typically if I'm going to be dicking around on Discord, I'll pull it up on the browser, and then like all the notifications have just all built up, and I can just go see like, oh, somebody mentioned this, and there's an X amount of comments here, and so on and so forth and so forth. And then while I have the browser up, I'm getting like the weird Discord noise, which everybody that records their podcast through Discord or everything else and has Discord open, you hear that sound come through on their goddamn podcast, and it pisses me off.
You love it, but go ahead.
I hate it. So that's why I usually keep it closed. But on my phone, it's just all notifications are muted. I don't want to be alerted of anything that's going on Discord on my phone. I'll check it when I want to know what's going on.
Right. I check. The only one that I really have notifications for is our Longbox Heroes one.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to, if somebody mentions something in the thing and they're not a jerk, I'll be like, all right, I'll try to get back to you as, quicker than I can if I'm not doing something. So that one I have. And then there's, I think Sports Talk I may have on, but that's going to go off because now we're getting into American cricket season, and I don't want to have it always going off. And there's a certain other one I can't remember. It begins with a G. Maybe Gluttony, maybe another one that I have the notifications on.
So I already have like a complex that if somebody emails me or texts me that I need to reply to them within 90 seconds or like I'm blowing them off.
Right.
Twitter I let hang. I can't have a fourth thing that is constantly hounding me to be on top of people for. Yeah. I'll get to Discord when I get to Discord. You have my text, you have my email. If it's that important, you'll get in touch with me that way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and like to me, usually Discord's goofing around. You know what I mean? Like there's not a lot of heavy subjects in Discord. There can be. But like emails and Twitter, like everything, I'm at my own pace, like regardless. But Longbox Heroes one, because it's comics in a sea of diarrhea wrestling, that I like to go in there and get back to people as quick as I can.
Gotcha. All right. The one last thing that I want to mention to wrap up all the social media talk, obviously since I have a new Twitter account.
Right.
I'm still trying to go back and like kind of build back the people that I was following for the right experience that I had before,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the good thing about this is that I come upon the people that I had either previously blocked on the original account.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, why am I seeing this person? I blocked them. And I'm like, oh, it was on the other account. And then I get to reblock them. That feels real good. And then the people that blocked me
are now available again.
Well, the people that blocked me, I now see them pop up. And I go, motherfucker, now I get to block you.
That's right. The blocking's on the other foot now.
That's right. And it feels good.
Mm-hmm.
Having that upper hand over someone, Yeah.
I have to admit, I don't think I've ever blocked someone with my main account. I've muted a shit ton of people. Shit ton. But I don't think I've ever blocked. Oh, you know what? Go back to the beginning of the cutting room floor of this. There's one guy blocked.
I was going to say the $100 Patreon level, you could find that out.
Yep.
But there was a period of time, this was like pre-Elon Twitter,
mm-hmm.
where Twitter kind of sort of almost made you believe that you could report hate speech and they would do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you would do the report, and at the end of it, they're like, "Oh, do you want to block this person?" I'd be like, "Absolutely." Yep. And then you would get the thing back, and it's like, we reviewed this Nazi's account, and we feel their anti-Semitism didn't violate our rules, so we've rejected your claim. But you've blocked them, so you won't see their content anymore.
There you go.
Right. And I'm like, oh, so this does nothing, right?
All that murdering's on the other side of the door, so it don't bother me.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Anyway. So, hey, everyone, thanks for listening. We mentioned the Discord. You can get in the Discord by signing up for the Patreon, patreon.com/longboxheroes. We just recorded the comic book oddities for Nightman this past weekend.
Saxophone.
And we were tipped off in the Discord that I think at the end of this month, Nightman is going off Tubi.
I think you got on that one.
Okay.
Because I looked it up and couldn't find anything. And Nightman's on multiple platforms. I think it's on like Freevee too and stuff like that. So I don't see it going away from Tubi. I think that person was just trying to get more people to watch Nightman. I swear to God.
Gotcha. Well, listen, if getting more people to watch Nightman gets more people to sign up for the Patreon, then it was worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So this was episode 488 of Longbox Heroes After Dark. Thanks for listening, everybody. And we will see you all next week.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.